Hey, what's up guys? This is Ryan and welcome to Foodiligence, a place where I eat the food so you don't have to, but in some cases, you might want to. Today we're doing something new, something super exciting, and that is generic versus brand name taste tests. Today we're covering drumsticks, but in the future I hope to cover just a bunch of different foods and just see if a brand name product is better than a generic product or if you're just paying more money for nothing. So today we're covering drumsticks. These were one of my favorite sweet treats growing up until I started working at my family's own ice cream store, and I just kind of fell out of the loop eating these because I was making my own and just learning everything about ice cream. So the important things to know about drumsticks, let me just clear these out of here. So we're covering the 5 most important things for every drumstick. So we're starting with the nuts on the outside. You don't want these things to be stale. Then we're moving on to the hard chocolate covering. You want this to be chocolatey, you don't want it to be waxy, you don't want it to just coat your entire mouth when you bite into it. And then you're gonna move on to our vanilla ice cream. It should be smooth, creamy, and delicious. And then we're moving on to our nice sugar cone base. You want this to also be crunchy, you want it to be sweet, but you don't want it to be soggy. That's the most important thing. And then last but not least, you have the tip or the bottom, which is also the tip of the cone, which is filled with chocolate. You don't want that to be hollow, and you just want it to fully embrace the ending of your cone. It's the end of your journey, and it's just a job well done to eating your entire ice cream cone. So price breakdown of these 2 ice cream treats. This 8-pack is coming in at around $4.99, so $5 for 8 of them. The Drumstick brand drumsticks are coming in at almost $7 for 8 of them. This is just a 4-pack because I didn't need this many ice creams in my house, but there's basically 60 cents a drumstick for the generic and then 80 cents a drumstick for the name brand. So there's more fat in the generic drumstick versus the original drumstick, so that means there's less sugar in it. So more fat in ice cream usually means that it's creamier. Both are coming in at 290 calories. Is that good? Good? Alright, let's eat some drumsticks.
Let's go.
There you go.
Thank you. Alright, so I have obtained the drumstick. So we're going through the 5 crucial details of the drumstick. We're going to start off with the nuts and the chocolate just because they're fused together already. So right off the bat, there's a great peanut flavor to these. They don't taste stale at all, and they just have a resounding nut flavor throughout. The chocolate was kind of a non-factor, but it didn't coat my mouth. It wasn't too waxy, so it wasn't the end of the world with the chocolate. It just wasn't that impressive. Alright, so we're going to move on to the vanilla ice cream with this. That tasted like some actually pretty good vanilla ice cream. It was really creamy. It melted in my mouth immediately. It didn't have any ice crystals in it, so that's a surefire sign of a cheaper kind of ice cream, is that it gets a little icy. So this had some great cream to it, and I was very impressed. Let's move on to the sugar cone. Sugar cone, nice and crispy. Tastes absolutely fresh. Very impressed. Lined with chocolate, the chocolate tasted much better inside the cone than outside the cone, so that's impressive. But most important part coming up right now. Now you may think I'm a monster just because there's basically a whole cone left here, but we gotta get to the most important part of the drumstick, and that is the chocolate-filled base. So look at this for a second. I bit about that much off the bottom of this cone, and there is still chocolate filled here, so if I didn't know any better, I'm going to have to say that this is the original Drumstick brand drumstick, but we still have another one to try, so let's taste that one and see if there's a big difference between them. Taste buds ready. Alright, so maybe it's just me, but this one looks a little bit smaller, a little bit less covered in nuts, and then it's kind of lopsided, so first impression's not the greatest, but let's move on to the taste tests. So the peanuts, you could obviously tell that they were there, but they didn't have any resounding peanut flavor to them. It was just kind of the texture. I didn't even taste the chocolate, so let me just go in for another bite. So if I had to be honest with the chocolate, more chocolatey flavor, but thinner. So it didn't line it as heavily. It was kind of like a paper thin coating. So it wasn't too impressive, but it had better flavor than the other one. We're moving on to the vanilla ice cream, so I feel like this is the part that's going to make or break this cone. So the vanilla ice cream in this is actually really good. Very comparable to the other cone, creamy. tasted a little lighter, if that makes sense. So it didn't taste like it had as much fat as the other one, but it still was a great flavor, great texture, and there's no complaints about it. Let's move on to our sugar cone. So as the previous one, you could really taste the chocolate a lot more inside the cone. It didn't taste as fresh and kind of almost smelled a little bit like cat food. Didn't taste anything like that, but it had a weird smell to it when I put it up to my mouth. So good flavor to the cone, not as fresh, and then it kind of has a weird smell to it, I'm not gonna lie. So we're moving on to the last and most important part of our drumstick, and that is our chocolate-filled base. So as with our previous drumstick, bit pretty high up the cone, solidly filled, so that's just impressive overall. And if I had to take any guesses, I would say that this drumstick right here was our generic drumstick, just because it fell short in a lot of categories. It was still really good, but it just wasn't as good as the first one in my opinion. So let's get the grand reveal and see which drumstick was generic versus which one was brand name, and just see, was it worth it? Alright, so the first one that I ate is going to be on the left, and then the second one I ate is going to be on the right. Let's see how I did, guys. Whoa. Was not expecting this one to be the first one, honestly. All I have to say is drumstick, get your drumstick, get it together. You're getting beat by this name brand hands down, and it was kind of disappointing, I'm not going to lie to you. So drumsticks, I guess, are just one of those things that are not worth buying name brand for. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Ryan. You've been watching Foodiligence. If you have an idea of any foods that you would want to see tested, brand name versus generic, leave them down in the comments below. If you made it this far, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe for weekly uploads of your favorite food-related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.